The twin moons of Zelaria hung low in the evening sky. The royal palace stood tall and glowing under their light, made of silver stone and floating crystals. It was peaceful until the sky tore open. A strange light streaked across the sky, moved fast, crashing into the royal garden with a loud boom. Guards rushed toward the smoke, their spears glowing with blue energy. Inside the burning wreck, they found a ship, small, broken, and very old. It was not Zelari design. It looked rough, like something from a primitive world. And inside, barely breathing, was a human. By the stars. "What is this creature?" one guard whispered. They pulled him out carefully. He was hurt but alive. Dark hair, brown eyes, pale skin. His clothes were torn, his hands full of burns, and a strange badge on his jacket said, "Jace Carter, Engineer, Earth Salvage Fleet." The news of the crash reached the Queen by sunset. But someone else heard it first, Princess Lysera. Lysera sat in her tall tower when she felt a strange pulse in her mind. It was like a warm breeze, a gentle knock inside her thoughts. Curious. She left her room and went to the royal garden's healing area. There, lying in a crystal bed surrounded by healers, was the human. He looked weak but peaceful. His eyes were closed, his chest rising slowly. Machines hummed softly around him. "Is he awake?" Lysera asked quietly. A healer shook her head. "No, Princess. He is stable now, but his body is very different. He has no psychic energy, no bond. He should not be alive after that crash." Lysera stepped closer. She didn't know why, but she felt something she'd never felt before. Not with her. Guards, not with her noble suitors. Not even with the mind-linked creatures of the forests. She sat beside him and watched for hours. When the healers left, she reached out and touched his hand. It was warm. Jace woke up to soft light and strange smells. His head hurt, but he could move. Slowly, he sat up and looked around. Everything was glowing. Walls, ceiling, even the floor. Next to him sat a woman tall, with silver blue skin, white hair, and eyes that shimmered like stars. "Hello," he said. She smiled. "You are awake? Good. Where am I?" "You are on Zelaria, in the royal palace. My name is Lysera." "Royal palace?" He blinked. "Wait, you're royalty?" "Yes, I am the princess." Jace stared for a moment. "Okay, that's new. Last thing I remember, I was fixing a navigation panel and got pulled into a wormhole." Lysera looked curious. "You are from Earth?" He nodded. "Yeah, engineer, salvage fleet. Not very exciting." "I have watched Earth Stories," she said softly. "Your people feel emotions. So deeply. They sing, laugh, cry. So loud. So alive." Jace chuckled. "We do that?" "Yeah. For hours." They talked. Jace told her about Earth cities, oceans, music, pizza. She laughed when he told jokes and listened carefully when he spoke about losing his crew in space. "You are alone now?" she asked. He nodded. "Looks like it." She was quiet for a moment, then stood. "Rest. You are safe here. But you must not leave this room. Not yet." "Why?" She didn't answer. She simply looked at him, her eyes soft but full of warning. Then she left. The next day, news of the crash reached the Queen. She was not pleased. "A human," she said sharply, her voice cold. "In the garden? In my palace?" Her advisor bowed. "Yes, my queen. The princess has taken interest in him. She visits daily." The Queen's eyes narrowed. "Bring me to him." That afternoon, Lysera sat with Jace again. They played a simple Earth game tick-tack-toes in a glass tablet. Jace laughed as she won again. "You're a fast learner." "I'm a princess," she smiled. "I must learn fast." Then the doors opened. Guards entered first, followed by a tall figure in dark robes. The Queen of Zelaria walked in with quiet power. Her presence made the room colder. "Mother," Lysera said, standing quickly. The Queen looked at the human. "This is the one?" Yes. Jace stood, unsure what to do. He bowed slightly. Hello, Your Majesty." The queen said nothing for a long time. Her eyes scanned him from head to toe. "What is your name, Jace Carter?" "I come in peace, I swear." "You have no bond," the queen said sharply. "You are weak. Your mind is closed to us." "Are you alive?" "I don't know," he replied. "Luck." The queen turned to her daughter. "You hide this creature. You protect him. Why?" Lysera stepped forward. "Because he is not a threat. He is kind and brave and foolish," the queen interrupted. "This is not a pet, Lysera. This is a human. They are not like us." Jace's jaw tightened. He didn't like being spoken about like an animal. The queen looked again at him, then at her daughter. "I will not allow this. He is my guest," Lysera said, trying to stay calm. "No longer," the queen said. She raised her hand. "Guards, take the human to isolation. I will question him myself." The guards moved quickly. Jace backed away, but he was outnumbered. He didn't fight, he just looked at Lysera. She looked heartbroken. "Don't worry," he said quietly. "I'll be okay." They took him away. Lysera stood frozen. Queen looked at her once more. "We will speak later, alone." That night, Jace sat in a small crystal cell. It wasn't cold or dirty, it was just empty. No windows, no sound, just silence. He sat against the wall, breathing slowly. Then he heard a soft voice. "Jace." He looked up, the wall shimmered in. Lysera stepped through, using a secret passage. "You shouldn't be here," he said. "I had to see you." She sat beside him. For a moment, they said nothing. "I told my mother something today," she finally said. "What?" Lysera looked into his eyes. "I told her that I chose you." Jace blinked. "Chose me? For what? As my mate?" Silence that followed was heavy. "I don't understand," Jace said. "Mate, like marriage. In our world, a royal bond is more than marriage. It is life, soul, future, but only the heir can choose freely once in her lifetime. I chose you." Jace stared at her. "But I'm not Zelari. I don't have powers. I'm just an engineer. You're honest. You listen. You make me feel like myself, not just a princess." He smiled softly. "That's a lot to take in. I know. You do not have to decide now. But I needed you to know." She stood. "Tomorrow, the council will meet. My mother will try to remove you. I will fight her." Jace reached out and took her hand. "I'll fight too." The morning light spilled into the grand hall of the royal palace. The great crystal windows reflected soft colors across the polished floor. The palace buzzed with whispers. Everyone knew the princess had declared the human as her mate. No one could ignore it now. In the throne room, the queen sat tall and cold. Her eyes were sharp like a hawk's. The royal council waited silently. Today's meeting was important, more than usual. The future of the empire was at stake. Lysera entered the hall. She walked confidently, wearing a blue dress that shimmered like the night sky. Her white hair fell loosely over her shoulders. She held her head high, but inside, she felt nervous. Her mother's voice broke the silence. "Princess, explain yourself. How can you claim a human as your mate? He has no bond, no power, no status. Our people would never accept this." Lysera took a deep breath. "I have watched Earth from afar for many years. Their stories, their art, their emotions, they speak to me in ways no Zelari ever has. Jace Carter is honest, kind, and brave. He is my choice." A murmur rose among the council. Some noble faces showed shock. Others showed anger. A counselor stood. "Princess, this is a dangerous path. Humans are primitive. They lack psychic abilities.
Ow.
Can you bind yourself to someone so different?" Lysera's voice was steady.
Ally.
"Love is more than power or blood. It is connection, trust, and understanding. Jace and I share that." The queen's eyes narrowed. You risk your throne, your people, and our traditions for this. Outsider. I am the future of this empire, Lysera replied. I will make my own choices. Meanwhile, in a quiet chamber, Jace sat alone. Guards watched him closely. His hands were tied lightly, not as punishment, but to keep him safe and calm. A young guard, Tolan, approached. He was tall, with dark hair and kind eyes. Unlike other guards, Tolan did not look at Jace with fear or hate. Instead, he nodded respectfully. I am here to help you, Tolan said softly. Jace looked up. Thanks. I need to learn more about this place and how to survive. Tolan smiled. I can teach you some Zellery words and customs. It will help. Days passed. Jace learned quickly. He fixed small machines in the palace, earning respect from the engineers. His human tools and knowledge impressed them. Despite his lack of psychic powers, he was valuable. One afternoon, Lysera visited Jace secretly. She brought him food wrapped in soft cloth and sat beside him. How are you holding up? She asked. Better, thanks to Tolan. And you? Lysera smiled faintly. Fighting the council is hard. They want me to give up my crown. Frowned. That's not fair. No, it's not. But I must be strong. She leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. There is a secret I've kept for years. Jace's eyes widened. What kind of secret? Lysera looked out the window. Since I was a child, I have watched Earth stories. The music, the laughter, the tears, they touched me deeply. No Zellery tale ever did. Why keep it secret? Because my family forbids it. They say humans are weak and dangerous. But I always felt something different. Jace nodded. It sounds like you had a big dream. I do, and now you are part of it. She called her advisors to plan. If Lysera insists on this union, the empire could fall apart. Nobles will rebel. The people will lose faith. One advisor suggested we must separate them, send the human away. Or worse. The queen's eyes flashed. No, we must do more. The trial of the bonded flame can decide. If the bond is real, we accept it. If not, Jace must leave forever. The trial was an ancient rite, tested mates for strength, unity, and soul connection. But no outsider had ever faced it. Back in her cell, Jace felt restless. Tolan brought him news. The queen prepares the trial. You will face it soon. Jace swallowed hard. I don't know if I'm ready. Tolan smiled. You have the heart. That is more important. Lysera stood alone in her chambers, looking at a hologram of Earth's blue oceans. Tears filled her eyes. Her heart was torn. Between duty and love, Mother's harsh words echoed in her mind. But she knew one thing. She would never give up Jace. A soft knock broke her thoughts. Tolan entered quietly. Princess Jace is ready to fight for your bond, for your future. Lysera nodded. Then we will face the trial together. That night, under the twin moons, Lysera and Jace met in secret one last time before the trial. I'm scared, Jace admitted. You are stronger than you think, Lysera said. Our bond will guide us. He took her hand. I trust you. Stars above seemed to shine brighter, as if the universe itself watched their promise. The stars outside the palace were quiet, but inside, trouble was growing. Princess Lysera stood at the top of her tower, looking out at the dark sky. Her heart was heavy. Tomorrow, the trial of the bonded flame would begin. If she and Jace failed, he would be sent away. Maybe worse. If they passed, the Empire would have to accept their bond. But Lysera knew the truth. The Queen would never accept a human as her daughter's mate. Even if they passed every trial, she touched the glowing bracelet on her wrist. It was linked to the secret palace AI, a hidden system known only to the royals. Activate Plan Ember. She whispered. A soft voice answered. Plan Ember activated. Transport ship ready in Hangar Bay 7. Lysera turned away from the window. Tonight, they would escape. In the lower chambers, Jace was preparing to. Tolan, the guard who had become his friend, gave him a small bag of supplies. Are you sure about this? Jace asked. Tolan nodded. The Queen will never let you win the trial, no matter what. The test is not fair. But if we run, won't they chase us? Yes, Tolan said. But out there, at least you have a chance. Jace took a deep breath, then let's go. At midnight, Lysera met Jace near the old hall that led to the palace hangars. She wore a dark travel cloak, her white hair tied back. Jace wore a light armor suit given by Tolan, made from Zellery fiber. Are you ready? She asked. He looked into her glowing eyes. As ready as I'll ever be. They moved quickly through secret tunnels. Lights blinked red as they neared the hangar. Guards were on patrol, but the AI opened locked doors ahead of them. One by one, finally, they reached the ship, a small scout cruiser shaped like a bird, sleek and fast. Jace looked at it with awe. That's yours? Was my brother's. He disappeared during a deep space mission. I kept his ship hidden. Jace nodded. Let's hope it still flies. They entered the ship. Lysera took the pilot's seat. Jace checked the engines. They were old, but working. Just as the hangar door opened, an alarm screamed. They found us, Lysera shouted. Can we make it? Jace asked. She pushed the controls. Hold on. The ship roared to life and shot into the night sky. Palace fighters chased after them, red beams flashing past. Lysera swerved left, then right, dodging blasts. Jace worked fast to boost the shields. We need to jump. He shouted, I'm charging the core 5 seconds. Behind them, 2 royal ships locked on. Loud beep warned of a missile. Jace hit the emergency counterbeam just in time. The missile exploded before it reached them. Then the jump core glowed blue, jumping now. Lysera called out. In a flash of light, the stars stretched, and the ship disappeared into deep space. They landed hours later on a small moon called Neural 5. It was cold, covered in dark stone and long abandoned. They found shelter in an old science outpost, long forgotten by the Empire. Inside were dusty beds, old tools, and a small power core that Jace quickly reactivated. I think we're safe for now, he said. Lysera nodded, but not for long. My mother will send hunters after us. Sat on a broken crate. I still don't get it. Why me? You could have any one powerful people, rich nobles. She sat beside him and smiled gently. Because you see me, not my crown. You talk to me like a person. You care, not because of duty, but because you want to. He looked down. Just a mechanic. I'm just a girl who wants to feel real, she whispered. For the next few days, they repaired the outpost, gathered supplies, and sent false signals to confuse their trackers. Lysera taught Jace about Zelari culture. While Jace showed her old Earth songs stored on his data chip, one night, they sat under the stars outside the outpost, wrapped in thermal blankets. Back home, Jace said, I used to dream about stars. Like these, I never thought I'd fall in love under them. Lysera blushed slightly. Neither did I. I used to think love was a weakness. It's not, Jace said softly. It's what keeps us strong. But peace did not last. On the 5th day, a strange shadow passed over the outpost. A ship black, silent, and deadly descended from the sky. It's a bounty hunter, Lysera whispered. They ran inside, locked the doors, and grabbed their packs. But the hunter had already landed. His name was Vorn, a half-Solari mercenary known for hunting traders. He spoke through a loudspeaker. Princess Lysera, return with me, and your human will live. Jace held a tool in one hand, ready to fight. We can't give up. Lysera looked at him. There is one way out. The underground tunnels lead to a cliffside. If we reach the edge, my brother's emergency pod is still there. They moved fast. The hunter broke through the door as they escaped through the tunnel. His footsteps echoed behind them. Jace stopped, turned, and set a small bomb he built from old tech. Keep going, he shouted. The explosion rocked the tunnel. Dust filled the air. Jace ran after Lysera as the walls began to shake. Finally, they reached the pod. It was small, just enough for 2. The hunter appeared behind them, weapon drawn. But Lysera stepped forward, her hand glowing with raw psychic power. She had held back until now, but for Jace, she would fight. She unleashed a blast that knocked Vorn off his feet. Jace pulled her into the pod, and they launched just as the tunnel collapsed. They landed far from the moon, drifting in quiet space. Lysera was weak, her energy nearly gone. "You saved me," Jace whispered. "You saved me first." She smiled faintly. They looked out the window, where stars shone like tiny flames. "We can't run forever," Jace said. "No," Lysera agreed. "We must face the Empire." Together he took her hand. "Then we fight." The Zellar Empire had seen many events in its long history: great wars, peace treaties, new planets discovered. But nothing shocked the people more than the return of Princess Lysera and the human. Jace Carter. After their escape, Lysera sent a message directly to the palace. "I call for the ancient rite of the trial of the bonded flame. I claim Jace Carter as my mate. I demand our right to prove our bond." The queen could not deny the law. The trial was older than even her throne. If Lysera and Jace passed all 3 tests, no one, not even the queen, could break their union. So the queen allowed it. But in her heart, she made a silent promise. "I will not let a human become part of my royal bloodline. Let the trial destroy him." The trial of the bonded flame was held at the Temple of Echoes, a floating platform above glowing lava fields. Only those with strong minds and stronger hearts could survive its tests. The 3 parts of the trial were simple in name, but deadly in practice. The trial of heart, facing the deepest fear inside the mind. The trial of will, walking through a psychic storm without breaking. The trial of unity, connecting to souls in perfect balance. The first trial, Fear Jace stood before a glowing crystal gate. His hands were shaking, but he held his head high. Lysera stood beside him, wearing a simple white robe. The queen and all of the royal court watched from a high balcony. A priest stepped forward. "Human, step inside. The trial of heart begins." Now, Jace took one breath and walked through the gate. The world around him changed instantly. He stood in a broken version of Earthburned cities. Empty streets, the bodies of his lost crew. He heard their voices calling him. "You left us. You survived, but we died." He saw himself folder, alone, forgotten, failure. His knees went weak, his chest hurt. The fear was too strong. But then he heard Lysera's voice in his mind. "You are not alone." He opened his eyes. "I'm not afraid," he whispered. "I remember, but I am not broken." The nightmare vanished. He stood again in the temple. The crystal gate glowed white. He had passed. The crowd gasped the second trial. Will now, it was Lysera's turn. She had to walk through the Mindstorm, a tunnel of pure psychic energy. It twisted thoughts, turned love into hate, made even strong minds collapse. She entered the tunnel without fear. Inside, she saw visions of her mother screaming, of nobles turning their backs, of Jace leaving her. "Love is weakness, eh?" Voice said. "You gave up everything for a human. You are unfit to rule." But Lysera remembered Jace's hands holding hers during the escape. She remembered his laughter, his stories, his bravery. "No," she whispered. "Love is my strength." She walked forward, step by step, and the storm faded. She returned to the temple, her eyes shining. She had passed. The queen's lips tightened. 2 tests passed. Only one remained, the hardest one. The final trial, unity. This trial was ancient and rare. 2 mates must sit in the circle of flame and link their minds, hearts, and souls. If their bond was true, the flames would turn blue, the color of perfect unity. If false, the fire would burn red and consume them both. The queen stepped forward. Now, for this part, she must lead herself. "Begin the last trial," she said coldly. Jace and Lysera sat across from each other in the circle.
Ow.
Flames surrounded them. A small crystal floated between them. "Close your eyes," Lysera whispered. Jace did. She reached into his mind at first. Nothing then dash colors, feelings. His memories came to her. Earth oceans, the smell of machines. His sadness. JAC. Felt her thoughts to her lonely childhood, her love for music, her fear of being just a crown. Their minds touched, their hearts beat together, and then flames turned bright blue. The circle lit up like a star. The crowd gasped. Even the queen stepped back. This had not happened in over 200 years. Lysera opened her eyes and smiled. Jace looked stunned, but happy. They stood together, hand in hand. The priest declared, "The trial has spoken. Their bond is true, but not." Everyone was happy later that night, while the temple celebrated. Small group of nobles met in secret. "He is still a human," one said. "He cannot be trusted. He has no powers, no noble blood." Then we take action. The plan was formed a coup. The royal palace would be attacked during the celebration. The queen would be forced to return to power, and the bond broken. They moved quickly that night. Explosions shook the palace walls. The battle for the throne of Jace and Lysera were in the garden when the attack began. Guards rushed in, shouting about betrayal. Jace grabbed his spear. "We have to get to the throne room." Together, they ran through the palace halls. Smoke filled the air. Rebels dressed in black fought loyal guards. Jace took charge, using his earth training and logic. He led a group of young guards to block the enemy path, setting traps with tools and wires. Lysera used her psychic powers to shield civilians and heal the wounded. They fought side by side, like one soul and two bodies. In the throne room, they faced the rebel leader, a noble named Vrel. Once loved Lysera, but had been rejected. She was meant for someone strong, someone of power, Vrel growled. "Not a human." "You don't understand love," Jace said. "That's why she chose me." They fought hard. Vrel had psychic strength, but Jace was faster and smarter. In the end, with Lysera's help, Vrel was defeated. The queen's decision, after the battle. The queen stood before the people. She had seen everything, how her daughter fought, how Jace led, how the people cheered them both. Slowly she removed her crown. "I have made many mistakes," she said. "But today I see the truth. The future is not built on fear or rules, but on trust." She turned to Jace and Lysera. "I give you my blessing." The crowd cheered. A new beginning weeks. Later, in the same garden where Jace first woke up, the royal wedding took place. Lysera wore a dress made of light. Jace wore Zalari robes mixed with earth symbols. They stood under the twin moons, surrounded by friends, nobles, and people from many worlds. "I never thought I'd fall in love on a planet like this," Jace whispered, "and I never thought I'd love a human," Lysera smiled. "But here we are." As they kissed, the stars above them shimmered in for the first time in Zalari history. A human became part of the royal line. The days after the wedding were filled with celebrations, speeches, and hopeful plans. The people of the Zalari Empire had begun to accept their new prince consort. Even if some still whispered doubts, Jace found himself learning quickly. He studied Zalari history, politics, and traditions. He met diplomats from other planets. Though he lacked psychic powers, his sharp mind and kind heart earned him respect. Lysera stood beside him, proud and strong. Together, they dreamed of the future where humans and Zalari would grow together. But dark forces still lingered in the shadows. In a hidden chamber beneath the palace, a group of nobles gathered. They were the same who had tried the coup. They whispered hatred toward Jace. "He does not belong here," one hissed. "Our empire must remain pure," said another. They planned again, this time to strike not with weapons but with lies. Rumors spread quickly that Jace was a spy, a weak link, a danger to the throne. Some nobles claimed the prince consort was using human simple technology to trick the empire at court meetings. Some nobles tried to block Jace's ideas. They mocked his Earth stories and laughed at his primitive ways. Jace felt the weight of their words but did not give up. One day, crisis hit. A distant planet in the Empire, Karanine, was attacked by space raiders. The local fleet was overwhelmed. Panic spread through the capital. The queen, now retired, but still respected, called for urgent action. Jack stepped forward. We need new tactics. I have studied Earth's defense strategies. If you trust me, I can help organize a defense. Many nobles scoffed. A human? You will lead our fleets? Lysara stood by his side. He saved me. You'll save Karenine. Jace worked day and night, coordinated ships, trained pilots in new maneuvers, and designed clever traps using simple Earth technology. When the raiders returned, Zalari forces were ready. The battle was fierce. Raiders swarmed, but the new tactics caught them off guard. Ships darted between asteroids, setting ambushes. Jace's plan worked. The raiders fled, defeated. News of the victory spread fast. The people cheered for the prince consort, the human, who saved the empire. Even the queen smiled quietly. Life settled again, but Jace and Lysara's bond grew stronger. They shared quiet moments on palace balconies, watching the twin moons. You have changed this empire, Lysara said softly. Jace smiled. And you showed me a new home. They dreamed of peace, progress, and friendship between worlds, but the future was not without challenges. A mysterious message arrived encrypted and urgent. It warned of a new threat, coming from beyond the known galaxies. Jack studied the message. We need to prepare. The Empire may face a danger unlike any before. Lysara nodded. Together, we will face it. As the stars twinkled above, the new prince consort and the princess looked out at the vast universe. From stranger to hero, from outsider to leader, Jace's journey had only just begun, and the Empire watched with hope.